Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Patsun, and today we're going to be taking a look at r/divorce, where OP is asking the really stupid questions. Let's begin. I'm needing some input on my cheating wife, posted by Reddit user IOJesus.
Reddit is the last place I want input from, but scrolling through recent posts, I figured I'd give it a shot. TLDR. My wife kissed another man whom they have been talking for 6 months and worked together and said that was the extent of the physical part. Emotional aside, is it possible my wife kissed him and nothing more? Edit. I asked her if she would take a polygraph test and she was hesitant and trying every reason not to take one. I asked why and she said because I did. She said she gave this guy a hand job. I say okay, but we'll still take the polygraph test, and she seemed more willing but not 100%. She said that's all and didn't tell me to protect me. Do I trust that's all? I mean, why keep lying at that point? In the meantime, I'm throwing up and cruising around. Another sleepless night. My wife and I have been married for almost 7 years. January 31st will mark 7. However, on December 10th, I discovered she cheated on me. Some backstory: my wife and I worked at the same job for a couple of years, and my boss hired his troubled nephew to work out in the shop. I didn't like the guy as soon as my wife said, "We have a brother and sister relationship." I didn't see how that was possible unless they were spending more time together than I thought or knew about. I end up quitting and go do my own thing, but my wife continues working there. Fast forward a few months, my wife is getting home later, acting differently. Showered immediately when she got home, etc. I knew something was up, and I kept telling her I didn't like what she was up to, leaving me and my 5-year-old son at home was getting frustrating. One day she says she's going out, and I told her I didn't like that, and she said I am going out anyways and I am going to enjoy my night. 1:30 rolls around and she is still not home. This is the latest she had stayed out. Tired and angry, I texted her saying I want a divorce. I know, it was overreacting, but hey, look what it surfaced. Instead of calling, she texts back and says why? Because I went out with friends. After a few back and forths, she comes home and is completely wasted. I ask her where she was and why she wasn't planning on coming home. She said she was going to stay at a friend's house. We argue and she goes to bed and I lay on the couch. Couldn't sleep and wanted to go talk to her, but she was out. I saw her phone, so I decided to look through it. Note, that was the first time in our marriage I ever looked through her phone. I look at her call log and I see this coworker's name on there. 2 calls were made to him around 1:30, the time I texted. I wake her up and ask her why she was talking with him, and she denied it, which is mind-blowing because I literally showed her call log, 6-minute conversations each. I also noticed her Snapchat was deleted, so I asked why it was gone, and she said she didn't know. But I called the guy and said, "Why are you talking with my wife at 1:30? And he said it was her friend that called him. I didn't buy any of it and hung up. She continues to deny and I get frustrated and leave the house with her phone. I re-download Snapchat and it automatically logs her in. I see she was in a group with co-workers, including this guy, and he was also tagged as a favorite. I see she had 2 videos of him at work that she recorded. I also found out that she was the one that planned that night days in advance and even picked this guy up to go to the bar. I look at her search history and see that while she was out of town during a trade show, she had Googled bars to go to. At this point I had enough, so I went home to get some answers. Again, I wake her up and ask her, "Did you cheat on me?" She says yes, and I saw with who, and she says with this co-worker. I can't believe I had the strength to say this at the time because I pulled an all-nighter. But I said I was willing to work things out if she quit her job and had no contact with her co-workers, who I later find out they were encouraging her to divorce me for months. She couldn't make a decision, and so I asked her, are they worth throwing our marriage out the window and having our son go through this? She still couldn't give me an answer, but at some point I angered her, and she yells in my face that this guy is her best friend, while in our entire marriage she never once called me that. Now I don't remember the time the next conversation took place because I didn't sleep for 4 days, but she said that she had been talking with him since July. It was her idea to hide the conversation via Snapchat. And she even told the guy, "My husband doesn't want me talking to you, so let's use Snapchat." She would delete the app before coming home and re-download it when she got to work. She would send selfies to him and have personal conversations non-work related. She goes on to tell me that she had feelings for him and pictured herself in a relationship with him. And one day she goes out to the shop and he says he has feelings for her, and she said the same, and they kissed. She claims she pushed him away and said that was wrong. She continues to say that she had no contact with him for 2 weeks, at which point they agreed to be just friends. So the kiss happened sometime in September or October. She claims she doesn't remember when. And they continue in their friendship until I find all this out on December 10th. Now here are some details pre and post kiss. Pre-kiss. She starts hiding this conversation via Snapchat in July. On my birthday, my wife takes me to a bar, and this co-worker comes along. Here I am having no clue this two are secretly chatting every day at work. Also takes me golfing with him. She says she sent selfies, nothing inappropriate according to her, to him via Snapchat. Goes out to bars with this co-worker, but claims other co-workers were there and that it was never just the two of them. She develops feelings for him, so on and so forth. Post-kiss. Now remember, this is post-kiss because it relates to the question below. She said she hated herself for doing what she did but continued their friendship because she said she enjoyed their friendship and didn't want to make work awkward. She goes on 2 trade shows out of town, and I later discovered this co-worker also went with. She said it was all professional, but when I asked her in the first place did he go too, she said yes, and I asked what hotel did he stay at. And she said a hotel, and I asked which hotel, and she said the same hotel. Why say a hotel and not just the same one to begin with? Anyways, they also flew out to CO to pick up vehicles for work. Single day trip, but gets home later than it should have taken. Goes bowling with this guy and another friend. Continues going to bars with him there. And she said they had multiple conversations about how they cannot let something like they did happen again. Oh, and she said she most likely would never have told me this happened had I not found it out. So here is my question. Is it possible that she did what she did, hid this relationship for months, had feelings for him, kissed him, and not have slept with him? I can forgive a kiss because throwing out 7 years and going through a divorce with my 5-year-old son would not be worth it. The emotional affair affects me too, but I can work past that. But if she slept with him, I cannot move past that. Is she telling the truth when she says she didn't sleep with him? Note, she has answered all of my questions, although her stories are different in some cases because I ask similar questions. But nonetheless, she answers them. She cries when I explain what she did to me. Seems like she is sorry even though she hasn't said it enough times in my opinion. I have entertained the thought of divorcing with her and she begs me no to. Oh, and she did quit her job the next day and got a new number and hasn't had contact with her old co-workers. She says she entertained this relationship because she said this guy noticed her, gave her compliments, liked her work ideas, held the door open. She said he did everything that I lacked. I can agree to an extent that I didn't give her all my time and attention, but that is not reason to do what she did. And to make matters even more complicated, she is pregnant. 5 years of trying to get pregnant, and she gets pregnant days after I find out she cheated on me. Now to be fair, we did have make-up sex which didn't make up anything. Many will tell me to get STD tested and do blood tests to see if the baby is mine, and I will. But again, she says they didn't sleep together. Can I believe that?
OP. A polygraph test is useless in this situation. Adults simply do not just kiss. The truth is, your wife is a selfish, lying cheater. She doesn't respect you, she doesn't respect the marriage, and she doesn't respect your kid. And if you have even an ounce of self-respect, you will be running for the hills. You should be getting out of that marriage. There is no way in hell that all she did was kiss him. I mean, come on, dude. It's a months-long affair. They went out of town together. They go to bars together. They stayed in a goddamn hotel together, man. Come on, you have got to be better than this. OP, look, I highly suggest that you get a prenatal DNA test done right now. You will never get the whole story with all of her friends encouraging her to divorce you. You should go proactive and do not put up with this bullshit. Good luck. And now for today's second story. How I Knew My Husband Didn't Love Me, posted by Reddit user Throwaway Infinity 5.
He refused to buy me a wedding ring. Even after 12 years of me being totally devoted to our marriage and family, he still wouldn't get me one. He knew from day one I wanted one. We got married in an unexpected rush because of immigration issues, so it wasn't a formal proposal. And we just picked up cheap sterling silver bands that were supposed to only be temporary. We talked about it then and many times after that, so he knew perfectly well it was important to me when he married me. And he always said he would get me one. Promised me over and over again. I let it slide so many times. First we bought a house, so I thought, oh, no need to spend money on a ring now, not that I cared how much it cost. Then we had a son and had a lot on our plates as new parents. Then it was our 10-year anniversary, and I thought for sure he'll get me one now, but nope. Eventually I told him if he didn't get me one, that was it. I was going to divorce him. He still didn't, and so I was forced to keep my word and do it. Of course it wasn't just that, there were a million other things, and ultimately the ring was just a symbol of our relationship. He also didn't want to go on date nights, talk about emotions, or even have sex. That's the thing, at one point he finally told me he didn't get me one because it just wasn't a priority for him. Because the marriage wasn't a priority for him, neither was I. It was like he insisted he wanted to be married yet was totally uninterested in doing any things I think people with healthy marriages do. I couldn't understand it and still don't. I think I'm a pretty decent wife. I work hard, pay half the bills, try to stay in shape, and people say I look very good for my age. Why wouldn't he want to buy me a ring? I know other men are into things like that. My brother and his wife even had a fun vow renewal ceremony at a country western festival because that's how they met. I wanted to do stuff like that with him because I loved him. So I just could only conclude he didn't love me. And honestly, the way he's acted ever since I asked for the divorce has done nothing but make me even more sure I am right. That is definitely true. Literally, the only thing he said this entire time was, "I'm perfectly happy with the status quo." Even though we haven't slept together not even once in so many years I've lost count. He gaslit me so bad pretending it was all in my head. But it's not right. Is it just me or does it not make sense? Why wouldn't he have just bought me a ring and given it to me at a little romantic picnic or something? I just don't understand. And just in case anyone is wondering at this point, yes, I tried to get him to go to marriage counseling, and no, of course he wouldn't. He just completely stonewalled me like totally impenetrable. Phew, I'm probably going to delete this, but just wanted to get it off my chest. That's the real story I never mentioned on here before. In addition to all the things I have mentioned, like how he refused to take care of his health, do any chores around the house, or even clean his piss up from the floor. But what really broke me was the lack of sex, emotions, and romantic couple stuff.
Yeah, OP, from the looks of it, you didn't have much of a relationship, let alone a marriage. There's a saying here in my country, and it's in my mother tongue, so I'll try and translate it as best as I can, and it goes something like this. Actions will prove who someone truly is, but it's their words that will show who they pretend to be. Look, OP, you're not getting even a little bit of what you want out of this relationship. I'm sorry this happened to you, but if I'm being honest, you just got used for a green card, and he had a kid with you just to make sure he can't be deported. Time to move on. You've wasted enough time on someone who didn't deserve it. I hope you learned your lesson. Good luck. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my YouTube channel for you to watch absolutely free. So consider clicking that super thanks just below the video title, or you can use my PayPal in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, make sure to subscribe to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.